China's mighty Dragon J-20 stealth fighter jet aims to outmatch the American F-35 and F-22 fighters. It wants to dominate the skies over the South China Sea and ensure air superiority in the event of a war with the United States. But is it really all that great, or is it just a cheap AliExpress knockoff version? Are any of the J-2's capabilities really unique? Or did China just tactically acquire all of them? We'll also speculate on whether or not American radar systems detect this new Chinese fighter jet, and how is the J-20 optimized for anti-access area denial, which is China's main strategy and tactic for dominating the South China Sea. The J-20 is produced by Qingdong Aircraft Industry Group, located in Qingdong, Xishan Province, China. Founded in 1990, the company specializes in producing China's fighter aircraft and is part of the larger aviation industry COR Corporation of China AVIC. It's known that China struggles with mass-producing assets that require high-quality production. However, after seeing new J-20 variants up close during the Yuha 2020 Air Show, Western analysts credit Chinese production of the J-20 with coming a long way in manufacturing tolerance and quality control. And this is something I want to note up front, because whenever I talk about China stealing or tactically acquiring technology, it's still nothing short of impressive that they were able to mass produce the technology at scale. They still had to innovate and problem solve and build a massive industrial base to create these aircraft. With 200 and growing, the J-20 has already surpassed the fleet of America's 185 F-22s, which finished production back in 2011, the same year as the birth of the J-20. But before we get into that, this is the one ring to rule them all, okay? So it doesn't actually make you invisible. But the Ridge Men's tungsten wedding band ring does have an ink convex shape that's designed for your day in and day out activities. I know finding a wedding band ring for guys can be tough, because a lot of them are extremely uncomfortable or unstylish. The Ridge designed a dual-layer band that has a no-pinch grip design. Whether you lose your ring or drop 20 lbs, the Ridge offers 2 free exchanges. It includes a travel case and dual-band silicone rings for comfort. The silicone rings are ideal for the kind of guys who want to wear a ring without the risk of losing something valuable. Whether you're married or not, rings make for a stylish flair, allowing you to add a crust or emblem. There are a variety of premium materials to choose from, including carbon fiber, tungsten carbide, 24-karat gold, and titanium. The Ridge has over 50,000 F-star reviews and over 3 million customers. You can go to ridge.com task and purpose and use code task and purpose to get 10% off your order. Again, that's ridge.com task and purpose, code task and purpose for 10% off your order. The speed of this growth is staggering. Some watchdogs in 2021 did not forecast China surpassing F-22 numbers until 2027, but the origins of this aircraft technology aside, the J-20 is the largest 5th-generation aircraft of all time at 21.2 m, or 69 feet 7 inches long. It's 4.69 m, or 15 feet 5 inches high, and has a 73 square m, or 790 feet wingspan. The aircraft is said to have a range of 3,400 mil, practically twice the range of both the F-35 and F-22. Now, we might want to take some of those numbers with a bit of skepticism, because China's intelligence agency still hasn't returned my emails requesting them to divulge these specifications. For certain, however, if we take them at face value, then this increased range allows the J-20 to penetrate deep into the second island chain, giving it greater access to targets in the South China Sea. Most of the U.S. bases surrounding China are contained within a 1,000 m radius. In a conventional war, these bases will need to be supplied to give us combat power to defend and support Taiwan in a conflict. Notice how we mentioned that the U.S.'s bases surrounding China from China's perspective. If we place ourselves in their shoes, then you could see how they might want something like the J-20 to deny the U.S. access to airspace near their coast. The J-20, with its stealth fighter capabilities, has the capability to fly beyond the U.S. bases and choke off their support system or strike at command and control nodes behind the first line of US defense. The SPLY Islands are China's island aircraft carriers, purely military in nature. These forward position air and naval bases will likely be early targets During a conflict, the longer range of the J-20 allows it to base deep inside mainland China, offering opportunity for greater protection via China's integrated air defense systems. And all of this would make sense except for one dang thing: the J-20 is the only fighter aircraft that doesn't come with a gun. Because the aircraft lacks a cannon, it's surmised that the fighter isn't designed to engage in close-up dogfights, but instead identify and engage targets at long to mid-range with its current model. China forecasts the battle space where air-to-air engagements are done at longer distance, and they have confidence that pilots can rely on sensor-driven missiles to hit a target without being jammed or deceived. The United States doesn't seem to be on the same page here with both of its fifth-generation fighters featuring cannons for close-up engagements. Personally, I think Chinese pilots just don't want to get the middle finger from Tom Cruise when they're inverted instead of a cannon. The mighty Dragon boasts 3 internal weapons bays and 8 hardpoints, 4 on each wing. A large bay underneath holds 4 PL-15 long-range missiles, and 2 smaller bays on either side hold 1 PL-10 heat-seeking air-to-air missile each. According to reports, the J-2's long-range missiles, the PL-15, has a range over 200 kilometers and can reach speeds up to Mach 4, outclassing its US counterparts. The A-10, which is believed to have a 160 kilometers max range, the PL-10 is closer to the US short to mid-range Sidewinder missile. And the J-20 has a unique way of deploying it. Instead of using some variation of catapult to launch the missile from a bay, and then using high-tech mumbo-jumbo to have the plane tell the missiles where to go, the J-20 uses rotating rails that hold the missile in place outside the aircraft until it can lock on to its target. This innovation solves several problems. First, keeping the missile attached to the plane until the lock-on circumvents the need for the plane to communicate to the missile after launch, simplifying this kill chain. Second, this allows the J-20 to close the weapons bay doors with the missile outside, increasing aerodynamics in a dogfight and minimizing its radar signature. This unique design was covered in detail by the Warzone of the Drive.com. A downed American F-17 Nighthawk likely helped contribute to the J-2's radar-absorbing technology after they investigated the wreckage. Documents released from the infamous NSA leaker Edward Snowden showed that China hacked US contractor secret files on the F-35 way back in 2007. In 2014, Su Bin, a Chinese multimillionaire, was arrested and pleaded guilty in Canada for stealing secrets from the F-35 and F-22 program for China. The Diplomat reported J-20 photos in 2018 revealed a sensor system that appeared to be identical to Lockheed Martin's electro-optical targeting system on the front of the F-35 Lightning II. There are even further reports of Chin spies hacking into Australian contractors for F-35 secrets in 2017. But when you get right down to it, the J-20 most closely resembles the Russian MiG-140, for the MiG-1.44 was a contestant for Russia's fifth-generation aircraft, but eventually beaten out by the Su-57, Russia's current fifth-generation stealth fighter. The MiG-1.44 features the same unique canard design that is present in the J-20 in 2011. An investigation from Reuters appears to confirm that the company that produces the MiG McCoy assisted China with the J-20 development. To compensate, China has integrated what's called a pulse production line into their manufacturing process. Xu Chaming, a military science researcher in Beijing at their think tank, said because of this production method, the PLA has been able to step up its warplane replacement progress in recent years. But that just sounds like buzzword speak. What does pulse production line really mean? A pulsating production line aims to never stop moving, which is unusual before now in aircraft manufacturing. The advantage is reduced inventory, which is great because keeping inventory on hand is basically the same thing as keeping cash wasted in limbo. However, the disadvantage is that pulse production must be very reliable, so no part of the stage of the line can fail at any point. This is key because if there is a supply chain problem, which as we've seen can happen in the United States, that means your pulse production line is screwed. As far as cost, the current J-20 is estimated to cost around $110 million US. This is far more than all F-35 variants that cost between $60 and $90 million US, but less than the F-22 Raptor with a $185 million price tag. Of course, it's difficult to really compare these numbers one-to-one because of the way China accounts for their aircraft cost might be very different than the way the United States does. For instance, we don't know if they're including research and development costs there. There's also purchasing power parity to account for. For electronics and sensors, the sensors and avionics aboard the J-20 are a hotly debated topic. There are claims that this has sensors and electronic systems that possibly outmatch those on the United States Baja Scoff. Meanwhile, U.S. officials remain skeptical and are not quote-unquote losing sleep over the J-20's capabilities. The J-20 reportedly features a full-glass touchscreen LCD cockpit with an integrated helmet-mounted display that mimics U.S. fifth-generation designs. Chinese pilots claim to have the ability to use this in a similar fashion to the F-35 pilots, where they can see, target, and fire on enemy aircraft in 360 degrees around their aircraft simply by looking in the direction of the bandit. This is also known as firing missiles at high off-bore sight angle. The J-20 seats a Type 1475 active electronically scanned array radar in its nose. This is a similar system to those carried by other fifth-generation fighters, which has both a high resistance to jamming as well as a low probability of intercept. Even though specific details about the J-20's data link system remain classified, it is widely known that the aircraft incorporates data link technology to facilitate seamless communication and data exchange with other friendly platforms. The data link enables real-time sharing of critical information such as mission updates, target data, and situational awareness among ground control stations and other aircraft in the network. The capability empowers the J-20 to operate as a part of this coordinated network-centric force where information can be rapidly disseminated, improving overall operational effectiveness. By leveraging its data link system, the J-20 can enhance its battlefield awareness, optimize mission coordination, and maximize its combat capabilities. We know this is something that the Chinese government is placing a major priority on. They're focusing specifically on battle management networks for their Air Force, and they believe this is going to be a major factor of whoever wins the future war. This is by far the most boring aspect of air combat that you could ever hope to talk about. There's absolutely nothing sexy about a battle management system. It's like trying to dress a spreadsheet up and make it look pretty. And yet the fact remains this is a really important aspect to future warfare. Can your spreadsheet AI software manage assets faster and better than your opponent's software? Wars. So bear with me here, because I promise you these concepts are key to understanding new and future air warfare. Sensor fusion on the J-20 refers to the integration and processing of data from multiple sensors on board the aircraft to provide a comprehensive and accurate picture of the battle and its environment. The sensors in question here are your radar systems, your infrared cameras, which gather information about the surrounding airspace and ground targets. Then sensor fusion algorithms analyze and combine that data from these different sensors. This gives the pilot the ability to track and prioritize targets and potential threats. Just think of it like Alexa on steroids.